Look what's finally here! We have the new ABH Cosmos palette. Was it actually worth it? Okay guys, so Natasha Beverly Hills just this past week launched their brand new Cosmos palettes right here. And it's been a minute since I bought any palettes from ABH. I think the last one I bought was the Nobu palette, which I really did enjoy. But when I saw they're launching this palette, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get this palette because it just looks so freaking beautiful. So this is the brand new Cosmos palette right here. This does retail for $55, and this is inspired by the explosively sparkling star-filled galaxies. Natasha Beverly Hills Cosmos eyeshadow palette contains 12 pigmented eyeshadows ranging from neutral to turquoise tones in a matte and intensely reflective metallic finishes. This essential eyeshadow collection features highly pigmented, easy to blend formula and offers a versatile color range for creating everything from subtle to dramatic summer eye looks. So I'm not going to lie, when I first saw this palette, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. But then I actually opened it, and I will say, it's a pretty palette. Like, it is a pretty palette, but for some reason, I just felt like the colors on like their IG sold me more than the palette itself. I'm like, oh, it's cute, but I'm kind of like underwhelmed a little bit by the color scheme. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought this would be a little bit more bright and vibrant, but it definitely has a little bit more neutral tone to it than it does a colorful tone. And you guys know that I really do love colorful palettes. So I will say I did swatch this palette, and based upon first impressions, oh my gosh, they swatched really beautifully. They're very pigmented. I'm really excited to play with the shade called Galaxy because it does look like it's a black matte. It says that this is a matte deep blue with bluish green sparkle, and I love a good matte with sparkle in it. There's something about it that just like really captivates me. And then I did notice that a lot of their shimmers are very creamy and buttery. So I'm definitely really excited to play this palette. We're going to see if this is actually worth it. Like I said, it's been a minute since I played with ABH, but I'm so excited. So we're going to go ahead and jump straight on in. Alrighty, so I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to do 2 eye looks today. I haven't decided, and it's so funny because I always get questions like, do I ever leave the house with 2 eye looks? A lot of times, no. No. I get really embarrassed. And a lot of times I take my makeup off before I leave the house because I'm still like not confident enough. It's the weirdest thing, I know. But we're going to see if I do 2 looks or not. All I know is I really want to play the shade called Galaxy right here. So we're going to kind of put that in our crease and in our outer V as well. But yeah, so like I don't know. I get like super embarrassed. I don't know why. Like you think I'd be more confident, but I am not. So leaving the house with full face makeup, half the time I don't do it. I mean, it just depends. Like if it's like a really neutral eye look, then yeah, I'll leave the house. But 2 eye looks, like I will if I'm walking my dogs, but that's like the extent of it. Okay, so yesterday, guys, I was posting on my community page my situation with Natasha Denona. I was getting a lot of questions asking like kind of like what happened and whatnot. So if you guys did not see, I recently did a review of the new Natasha Denona Yucca palette, and Corey made a joke that I should call it the Yucky palette because it smelled bad.
Oh, potato.
And you guys had all told me that I should really reach out to customer service and say, hey, my palette stinks. Kind of like, what should I do? Because a lot of you guys said your palettes didn't stink. But then I had so many of you guys reaching out saying that your palettes had a really weird smell to it as well. So it made me feel validated that I wasn't alone. So I decided to reach out to customer service. And if you guys have been here on my channel at any point in time, you guys know that is very difficult for me. I don't like reaching out to customer service, to brands, just to anything. If I ever have an issue, I just kind of suck it up and deal with it just because I have really bad anxiety, and the idea of reaching out to a stranger, it just gives me anxiety, right? Not to mention the brands that I've had reach out to in the past, not calling out any names, Pat McGrath, have given me really horrible customer service. So I was like, ooh, I don't know what to do because it's awkward, you know what I mean? Like it's really awkward. And, you know, Pat McGrath really put a bad taste in my mouth with other brands. But I will say when dealing with Natasha Denona customer service about like asking how my tracking's going and stuff like that, they were super sweet. So I took your advice and I reached out to the brand. I pretty much just let them know that my palette had a really funky odor coming from it. I've never really experienced that before from this brand. Kind of wanted to know what I should do because I thought the smell was quite overwhelming and it caused my eyes to burn slightly, and I never really had that happen before with this brand. So I just kind of wanted to know, like, hey, like, what do I do? Do I let it air out? What do you think it could possibly be? Just being very, like, you know, just asking for help. And initially, I got an email that I posted on my stories yesterday. I posted on my community tabs to kind of like let you guys know, hey, if you guys are having any issues with the palette, this is the response that I got. And pretty much the response was like an automatic response that said that if I want to return the palette, here is the prepaid label to send it back to them, but that I would not be refunded on any shipping cost, and I was not allowed to send out any used palettes. So it had to be completely unused palette. And I was like, well, I guess I'm out of luck then because my palette is used. And not only was my palette used, I informed them that I used my palette, and I sent over my video link to be like, hey, this is like proof of me showing that I'm struggling with one of the shadows, the smell, talking about it burning my eye, a little bit of that, just so I can, kind of cover all my bases. Like, hey, this palette kind of stinks. And that was the response I got, and I was really like, oh, okay, well, I guess it is what it is. What can I do? They don't want to accept a palette that has been used. So I kind of just said, well, I guess that's it, right? Like, just took my losses. So I made that post, and then about an hour later, I didn't respond to Natasha Denona because at that point, I'm like, what can I say? Like, you pretty much just told me that you're not going to take back my palette. So, like, what can I say to you? Because you don't want to accept it back. So there's nothing for me to really say at this point. So this is so freaking pretty, by the way. I'm just kind of blending it out. I am taking a little bit of the Dominique Cosmetics setting powder right here. I love to take a little bit of setting powder and blend out my eyeshadow. I just find that it works better sometimes than using other shadows. So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm just going over the edges and I'm just softly diffusing them so they do have a little bit more blended, soft effect that you guys see right here. So anyway, I didn't say anything, but I didn't say anything, but about an hour later, the brand reached out again. And this time they addressed me and said, hey, Allie, we're so sorry that is the experience that you had with any of our products. If you want, we will definitely, we'll send you a prepaid label, and we can either offer you a refund or, or exchange you for the palette. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's what I would love. I just want to exchange. I don't want to lose this palette. I do like the palette. I really do. I don't want to lose it. It has a really strong chemical smell. And a lot of you guys asked me if it was glue. Apparently Natasha Denona doesn't have like glue in their palettes. They're magnetic from what people are telling me. I don't know. It's just a really weird chemically smell that it's really overpowering. And I smelled all my other Natasha Denona palettes and they don't smell like that. So it's really weird. But I was very like, wow, that was very sweet of them to reach back out. So I did reach out to them again, and I said, all right, I was like, thank you so much for getting back to me. I truly do appreciate that. I do want to follow up with you guys, though, because you guys do have a strict no used palette. You guys do have a strict policy in terms of, like, used makeup, and I wanted to let you know that my palette is used. I used it one time, I swatched it, and I just want to know what I should do from this point on. And they actually got back to me this morning saying that, it is no worries. I can definitely still return it and get an exchange for the palette, and I thought that was very sweet of them. So that's what I'm gonna do. I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna exchange my palette for another one, just because my palette, like I said, it does have a really strong odorous smell, and my eyes kind of burned when playing with the palette, and maybe it's me, but I just felt like that one cream to powder shadow, like the fruity, it was not performing the way that I'd want it to. Now it is cream to powder, so there is definitely some trial and error to get it to work for you. But I don't know, I just was not a good experience with that particular palette. So I want to give you guys an update because I know a lot of you guys are saying, oh, what was the initial community post? So the reason why I took it down was because the brand reached out again. So I don't want to be like, hey, the brand reached out, but like not show you guys. I'm very transparent, and I want to let you guys know, like, nope, they reached out again, and they're offering me an exchange for the defective palette for a brand new one, which is just really, really sweet of them. So definitely something that I am, definitely something that I'm taking to heart with how sweet this brand has been and how fast and efficient their customer service has been as well. So I really, really do appreciate that. So that's kind of like my update in terms of like the Natasha Denona Yucca palette situation of what happened. So now you guys kind of like know like what happened. Now I was telling Corey this morning how excited I was for this palette to come in, and I think the reason being is that I told you guys last week when I did my new makeup release videos that I kind of have a soft spot for ABH. Like ABH is one of those brands that I had coveted when I first started YouTube, and when I look back at those videos of me playing with like the Riviera palette, the Volume 3 palette, the Amarizi palette, the Jackie Aina palette, like there's so many different, the Carly Bible palette, there's so many different palettes that I played with ABH over the years that I really kind of have a soft attachment to, and I can't help it. Like I distinctly remember back in the day when I was filming in my kitchen in my 1-bedroom apartment. And it was just me at the time, just me. Corey and I were slowly getting back together. I'm going to go into the shade called Mercury because I want to do like a night sky feel. So we're going to go in the shade Mercury right here. I just remember we were slowly getting back together and I was getting back into YouTube, and ABH was just one of those brands that I really, really coveted and wanted to review, wanted to play with, because I was just so in love with ABH. I was like, this is the brand. Like, this is the brand. You know what I mean? Like, this is the brand that I would review. And I just remember the joy that I used to have coming home from a runner shift, because I always film on Wednesdays, coming home from a runner shift. So I would film after I got home, like around 5 o'clock. And I remember just being so excited to film. And even though I only had like 10 viewers at the time, that to me was everything. And I loved seeing those. I love seeing back those videos, because I did kind of put them on the other day to like kind of remember how I felt reviewing those palettes. And I just remember those memories coming back to me, just how much joy I had filming. Even though I only had 10 followers, like 10 viewers, it to me was like everything. It was the coolest moment, and it's just something I'll just never forget. So I'll always have a soft spot for ABH because of that. Okay, next we're gonna go into the shade called Super Cluster right here. Like this really, really pretty like turquoise shade. We're gonna put this right here. Oh yeah, that is so freaking pretty. I will say though, it's a little transparent. Like I can see my base underneath that. So it's something that I would probably want to put like a more colorful base underneath that, so it kind of pops just a little bit more, because I feel like it's just kind of blending in with that cut crease that I did. All right, then we're gonna go into the shade called Kazar right here. And we're gonna put that in the very inner corner. Really pretty shade. It's alright. It's alright. I can't really determine how I feel about this. Like the shimmers are really nice. They're blending really nicely on top of each other. I just don't know how I feel with like the black mixed into it. But I wanted to do something like Galaxy. This is a Cosmos palette, so I want to play with the deeper shades, and I want to kind of challenge myself to go out of my comfort zone and do something a little bit deeper. And you guys know that I find black shadows to be pretty intimidating, because a little goes a long way, and if you mess up, you mess up. But it's not bad, but I think I'm going to do a different eye look on the other side. I still want to play with the Galaxy shade, but I think I'm going to go into more like pinky stuff and like orange, and kind of see what type of look we can create with that. So let me just go put my eye base on, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I said I was going to kind of do like the same thing on this eye over here with like the Galaxy shade, but I kind of want to use all the shadows in this palette today. So I'm going to do a different eye look, kind of the same basis, but different eye look. So instead, we're going to go into the shade called Comet right here, and I'm going to lay that down in like my transition crease area. And we're just going to try to like do something different, but like the same, using different shimmers in here, different formulas. So let's try this out. I have not seen any reviews on this palette. I'm sure they're out there. I just haven't seen any reviews on them, so I don't know what people are saying. But I will say the shimmers are really, really, really nice. I'm not having any problem with them, and the mattes are really, really pigmented. Is this my favorite palette so far from them? I don't know. You know, actually, it's been a really, really long time since I played with any of my ABH palettes. I think I should do like a ranking video. Would you guys like to see that, me ranking all of my ABH palettes? I totally couldn't do that, because I have quite a few. And I can even do a mix of like ranking all my high-end stuff. Speaking of that, y'all, next week I'm doing a video where I'm doing the best of and the worst of 2023 so far of all the makeup products that I've tried. I have everything setting off to the side. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I've been telling you guys this, I'm going to be doing a massive declutter, because I told you guys back in December that I still had way too much makeup left for my taste. So I still stand by that. So I'm going to be doing a declutter coming up. And also because I still don't kind of know what my situation is, whether or not we're going to renew here or not. We have until the beginning of July to at least tell them no, because that would be our 60-day mark. But we have until August to tell them yes. But like at the same time, you're pretty much telling them yes or no at the beginning of July. So that's kind of like where we are. I'm still trying to find something better. We are definitely finding homes that are definitely a lot cheaper than our apartment. However, they're like 45 minutes to an hour away from Corey's work. They don't come with washer dryer. There's not maybe the best area. So like we're trying to just to see what would be our best option for us. That Comet shade is laid down. We're going to go into the shade called Mars right here. And we're going to use that as our outer bead today. That's a really, 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 really pretty color, by the way. Super freaking pretty. So now we're going to go into the shade called Sun right here. And we're going to lay that down right next to that Mars shade. Although I will say this is like a duochrome because it looks orange, right? But whenever I swatch it, it's coming off more like a pink rose gold situation. But it looks orange in the pan. And I just felt like that would be really, really pretty to go along with that Mars shade right there. We're going to make it work. All right, then I'm going to go into the shade called Orion right here. Really pretty, like pinky, like sparkly shade. Really like that. Place this right here, right next to that. I love the gold reflect in that. Do you guys see that gold sparkle? That's actually really pretty. All right, and then for like the very inner corner, we're going to go into the shade called Supernova right here. As like the very, very like inner corner, like so. Okay, so this is kind of where we are with the eye looks. You kind of have like two different like, you kind of have two different eye looks. You have like a darker like smoky one and like a, I guess like more sunnish one. So I'm gonna go throw on my full face of makeup right now. We're gonna come back to do the under eyes together and I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on this palette so far. So I'll be right back, guys. Alrighty, so now that the rest of the makeup is on, for the most part, we're gonna go back into this palette. So I'm gonna take the shade called Dark Matter. And we're going to place that underneath our eye today. I think I'm going to do something a little different. Typically, whenever I do like an eye look like this, I would 100% want to use like a black liner to like smoke it out. But I think I'm going to use like a blue liner today to kind of go with the eye look that I'm wearing for this eye. And I think I might do like something pinky on this eye because you guys challenged me in my subscribers picks my makeup video to step out of my comfort zone and start using more colorful liners, especially since I have a full drawer of them from ColourPop that I just don't use. And you guys are like, Allie, you need to use your liners, otherwise they go bad. And I'm like, shit, you guys are right. So I think that's what I'm gonna do today. So I'm just gonna kind of blend this out just a tad. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of the shade called Eclipse right here. Very little, one more time, just to kind of blend that in. I'm literally using every single shade from this palette that I can. Like, I think I'm utilizing every shade. So I'm just gonna take this and softly blend that Eclipse right here. Okay, so then for this eye, I'm gonna take the shade called Mars once more. I'm gonna put that underneath my waterline. Then I'm gonna blend it out with Comet and Space Dust so I can actually use every single shade this time. Oh my God, that Comet shade, it literally has so much fallout. It's insane. I go into this eyeliner. It's like a green turquoise shade and we're gonna make this work. Hopefully it's pretty, but we're gonna use this today because I feel like it would just complement the black and like the kind of shades that we have going on with the shimmers with that turquoise blue and like that soft like shimmery green. I don't like that. All right, so that's too greeny. So I think I'm gonna take a different blue and we're gonna mix that right on top. All right, then for this eye, we're gonna do like a pinky eye look, like a pinky. See how this looks, and we might have to blend another shade with it, but let's use pink first. Ooh, I kind of like that pink. That's nice. Okay, so then the Jaclyn Cosmetics extra like loose balm highlighter in the shade Extra, and we're gonna put that in the inner corner and brow bone today. All right, so I'm gonna finish my lips off camera, guys, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, guys, and this is the final look. So what do we think? What do we think? So I'm actually gonna take a close up. I can see a little bit of fading right here in my crease. There's a little bit of fading right there. I don't see any on this eye. I will say that the formula was incredible. I think that the formula on this palette was really nice. The mattes were super pigmented. Definitely a lot of kick up in the pan. There was some fallout on the face, particularly with that shade Galaxy. But the mattes were really pigmented. They're really, really easy to work with. I really love how well they blended out. And the shimmers are really nice. Like, I didn't have any issues with the shimmers at all. I didn't need to lay down any glitter glue. They definitely performed very, very beautifully. They're very pretty. Like, I really will say the shimmers and the mattes are really pretty. As for my eye looks, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't like them. I know you guys say that I'm always so hard on myself. Well, I'm hard on myself for multiple reasons. One, I'm not a makeup artist, so anytime I do an eye look, people do love to criticize. It is what it is. I'm used to it at this point. So that's why I do preference and say like, hey, I'm not a makeup artist. But two, I just generally just don't like the colors that I put together. I think they're okay. It's not like it's an ugly eye look. I definitely prefer this eye over this one, but they don't stand out to me. Like, I don't look at them going, oh my God, it's so pretty. Like, I just generally think that they're okay. I don't love them. I don't hate them, but they're okay. So because of that, and maybe it's just me, but I definitely find this palette to be a little underwhelming. It's $55. I'm glad I got it. I'm gonna keep playing with it, but I definitely am like not in love with it. And that's a little bit of a bummer because I really wanted to love this palette, but I think it's just kind of more of my personal taste. There's a lot of shades in here that I feel like maybe I could try something different. Maybe I'd feel differently if I mix the shades with different colors. But based on what I used right now, based on first impressions, I like the palette. It's just not my favorite. And I probably won't pick this one up as much as I will other palettes that I have in my collection. So this is kind of one of those palettes that I feel like you could definitely pass on. To me, it's $55, so it's not going to break the bank to get. In my opinion, I did do Afterpay, but I feel like it's just one of those palettes that I could have passed on and been completely okay and wouldn't get FOMO for missing out on it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty, it's a good like neutral palette with pops of colors, but for me, it's not a necessity to have. So I'm definitely going to keep playing around with this palette. I will say the formula is amazing. I won't take that away, but with the eye looks I created, I'm just kind of underwhelmed. I'm not the biggest fan of the color story. I thought it'd be prettier. I thought it'd be prettier than what it was because the pictures were just like amazing. But looking at it now, I'm just kind of like, they're pretty. Like they are, but they're just, I don't know. I prefer a different color story. So I'm going to keep playing this palette because if you guys do not know, I do a series here on my channel where I do repurchase or trash. So I'll keep playing it with it. I'll keep trying out different color combos to see maybe if I could see if maybe that would make me fall in love with the palette. But first impression, I like it. It's okay, but it's one of those palettes you guys can definitely skip on. So yeah, guys, that's just my opinion. Of course, we're all entitled to have our own personal opinions, but first impressions, I'm just not overwhelmed with this palette. So yeah, I'll make sure I list everything around my face down below for you guys. But that is it for today's video, guys. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure you guys give this video a cheeky thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already, because I do post 4 to 5 videos every single week. Make sure you guys head over to my other channel. It's Art for Life. You guys get to see my cool, wonderful adventures, my amazing husband, Corey. And as always, the biggest thank you goes to these beautiful, wonderful page members you guys see right here. Thank you guys so much for everything. And to my subscribers and viewers, thank you guys so much for being here. Whether you guys like this video, you guys thumbs down this video, you guys subscribed, you guys did not subscribe, either way, thank you guys so much for being here. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. So with that said, guys, I love you, and I'll see you guys in my very next video. Bye! Cosmo Palace. This is the brand new Cosmos This is the brand new turquoise from neutral to turquoise, an intensely reflective metallic